So I want to welcome you on this last Transformation Tuesday of Women's History Month. I want to welcome you guys and just really want to talk about what this whole high heels and low expectations is all about. But with the Women's History Month coming to an end, I wanted to come to you guys and discuss women, the women that we know, the future women that we are raising, and the women that we are, and the women we love as well. The fight for women's rights, especially in this political climate, is more prevalent than ever. Everything from equity and pay to reproductive rights to being more represented on the political scene. But with all this and all these issues as it surrounds women's right and women's history, we know it takes a collective effort for us to achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve. But there are individual things that we all can do to just really add to this collective effort. And I want to talk about just some of these individual things that we can do to raise the collective bar and shatter that ceiling that exists for so many of us, because ultimately it is the efforts of individuals that contribute to the collective whole and contribute to the change. So I entitled this broadcast High Heels and Low Expectations, because there tends to be a belief, and it's an erroneous belief, that the qualities associated with being ladylike really are contrary to the qualities necessary to be astute in a business sense. And recent research, even research done a few years ago in 2011, revealed that women with ultra feminine qualities are seen as less competent in traditional managerial settings. So qualities or traits such as nurturing or accommodating or sacrificing or giving are not readily considered to be advantageous to those of us who are trying to climb the corporate ladder or build our own business or advocate for our careers. So when these women's characteristics are seen as less likely to advance, whereas women who possess what are considered to be more male characteristics, so things like assertiveness, confidence, aggressiveness, risk takers, decisive, these women who display these characteristics oftentimes are met with backlash, and met with, not so nice comments overall. And I know even last year there was a lot of media coverage about this whole ideal of being bossy and how it was considered an insult for women, and, challenging that and embracing that. But in the business world, women who are aggressive, assertive, seen as confident, but who can turn these traits on and off. This is what this research showed, depending on the social circumstances. So like in psychology, this is sort of what we call code switching. So they're able to, tap into those masculine traits, but still own their femininity. These women tend to, according to the research, do better and fare better business-wise. But, what makes this problematic for me, or the potential problems that's inherent in this study, is that many women erroneously believe that they have to choose one or the other. They believe that being ultra feminine is mutually exclusive to being astute in business. And that's so not the case. So a lot of the women that I've treated, a lot of the women I've seen in my groups or I've spoken to have cited a lot of early messaging from parents, from community, from culture, that not being assertive, not being aggressive, and being polite is a good thing. And many cite this as a hindrance to their ability to kind of just really promote themselves and move forward in life. So in turn, what they find themselves doing is playing themselves down, not showcasing their talents, and just really not being able to shine and step into the power that they have, because they're still tethered from a lot of these early messaging that's preventing them from breaking through that ceiling. So what can we do in our everyday lives to empower ourselves, not just in business, but in relationships as well? Because I'm going to get to that part. First of all, you want to challenge what you've been told. Challenge what you've been told, early messaging, as it relates to those traits that you're supposed to possess as a woman and what you're not supposed to possess as a woman. So you want to understand that assertiveness, by definition, having or showing a confident and forceful personality, and aggressiveness By definition, pursuing one's aims and interests forcefully, these are not threats to your femininity. In fact, what these actually do is exponentially increase the power that's inherent in all of our femininity to really be able to own and use assertiveness and aggressiveness to our advantage. So you want to also advocate for yourself. Advocate for yourself. Don't water down your worth in an attempt to be polite or play yourself down in an attempt to be liked. And this happens more often than it should, honestly. And I just had this conversation with other women who are in business, running their own businesses, about how often it is that we are expected to provide our services for free or at a reduced rate than our male counterpart would, because we're women and we're supposed to be nice and we're not going to negotiate and we're not going to advocate for ourselves. And it's time to really get rid of that notion. I know the older that I get and the more I guess really solidly I become in the foundation of my career, the more comfortable I feel now at really advocating for myself and not allowing people to take advantage of what it is I have to offer because I'm a female. So, you know, you have to pay for what you want. And if a person's skilled, regardless of your gender, they deserve the same pay that their counterpart would get. Own your voice. You want to own your voice. Be unapologetically you. People will tell you you're too loud, you're too boisterous, you're too intimidating. I remember years ago, people say, oh, you laugh too loud or whatever. You know, be apologetically you. When people tell you that, it's not your problem. You know, it's not your problem. It's their problem. And I shared in a recent post that if you're real, if you're genuine and unapologetically yourself, the right people will respect you, and the wrong people, well, they're irrelevant, and we have to look at it that way. And if you recall, I entitled this broadcast, High Heels and Low Expectations, Shattering the Glass Ceiling in Business and Relationships. Why did I want to include the aspect of relationships in this? I wanted to add a brief discussion, and we can talk about this more in detail in future broadcasts, but a brief discussion about relationships, especially in Women's History Month. Because I continue to be amazed at the beautiful, brilliant women that I encounter, beautiful, brilliant, smart women that I encounter who are in not so smart relationships, not so smart, low energy relationships. So I even contemplated doing one of the Transformation Tuesdays this month entitled Smart Women, Dumb Relationship, but I kind of refrained from doing that. I thought that may be a little harsh, but you get the point, right? We all know these women that we love, that we see so much potential in, and they're playing themselves down by allowing themselves to be in relationships that won't allow them to really step into their power. But as an advocate for women, you know, as someone who really advocates for women and someone who wants women to really understand the power that we all individually possess, that if we collectively put it together, we could change the face of this world, the climate of the world, the emotional climate of the world. It's my desire to have an honest exploration of why we see this tendency. So in exploring what holds women back in a business world, it became quite obvious that those same things I just talked about that we need to do is what is needed to empower ourselves in our relationships as well. Because if you've never had a healthy relationship, it's hard to imagine what it should look like. So anything we do enough of or participate in long enough becomes our norm. So that's true for business. That's true for relationship. Any relationship that you've played yourself down in, did not advocate for yourself or value or feel that you could be unapologetically you, is not a healthy relationship. That includes our relationships with ourselves, with others, and our work environment. So in relationships, you have to do just what you need to do in business. Again, so many smart women out there who are just really doing their thing in the business world, but they can't transfer those skills over into their relationships. So you have to, again, challenge what you've been told in your relationship. Understand assertiveness and aggressiveness, which is pursuing one's aims and interests forcefully. Those are not bad things. And you can do that in your relationship too. Advocate for yourself and own your own voice. Own your own voice. Be unapologetically you. Step into your greatness, because this is what's going to ultimately bring that fulfillment that we all seek in life. So I just want to really end this by saying we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to other women. We owe it to the women that we are raising. I have 2 here now getting ready for school, but we owe it to other women to make smart decisions, because it contributes to us as a whole. Our advancement as a whole is dependent upon our individual advancement in business and in relationships. So hopefully you guys, you can take this information, share it with friends, just use it as a roadmap as you go about your day, as you go about your efforts and all of those goals that you want to achieve. So take this to heart. Have a great day and get out there and live your life in full bloom. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.